The case is known as the Yuba County Five. Some call it the American Dyatlov Pass. A story of 5 men who did something so bizarre, so defying logic, that investigators still can't explain it. Here is the paradox. A Forest Service trailer. Locked. Untouched. Except for one room. Inside it, the body of Ted Weiher. Frozen. Emaciated. Bones pressing through his skin. A man who weighed more than 200 pounds, now reduced by nearly half. He had wrapped himself in sheets. Tucked himself in. Almost like a patient waiting for care. But he didn't die quickly. His body showed beard growth. Up to 13 weeks. Meaning he survived for a month. Maybe more. And here is the twist. He starved to death in a room full of food. Dozens of military ration cans. Enough calories to sustain all 5 men for weeks. At arm's reach. He had matches. He had books for Tinder. He had a propane tank connected to a heating system fully capable of keeping the trailer warm. Yet he used none of it. He froze. He starved. Surrounded by everything required to live. Why? Why did a man with food choose death? Why did biology fail him? Why did all 5 men choose to starve in a room full of food? This isn't just a mystery. It is a violation of instinct itself. To understand the case, we begin with normalcy. Routine. Predictability. The men were known locally as the boys. 5 friends. Adults. Each with mild intellectual disabilities or psychiatric conditions. But all functional. All capable. They held jobs. They drove cars. They planned their days meticulously. On February 24, 1978, they attended a basketball game at Chico State. They were excited. Their own game was scheduled the next morning. They had new uniforms. A big tournament. They couldn't stop talking about it. After the college game, they stopped at a gas station. Bought snacks. Candy bars. Soda. What people buy when they plan to go home and sleep. They had every reason to return to Yuba City. They had zero reason, to go into the mountains. So why did they? The drive home required heading south. But their car ended up far east. Up a remote, icy mountain road. A road that made no sense for any of them to use. This is the first major anomaly. Jack Madruga was the driver. He loved his car. A 1969 Mercury Montego. He babied it. He wouldn't risk dents, scratches, potholes. He also hated the cold. He avoided the mountains. So why did he take his prized car up a snowy logging road at night? A road that even locals avoided in winter. Why would a careful, routine-driven man suddenly behave in a way that contradicted his entire personality? It defies every logical framework. When the car was found, it wasn't damaged. No dents. No missing parts. Not even scratches on the undercarriage. This means one thing. The driver navigated that road carefully, skillfully, purposely. But then the car got stuck. Not broken. Not dead. Merely stuck in snow. 5 healthy men could have freed it in minutes. They didn't. Instead, they walked away from it. Straight into the cold. Into snow several feet deep. Without proper clothing. Without direction. Without logic. Why? There was one witness. A man named Joseph Shones. That night, Shones was driving the same mountain road. He suffered a mild heart attack and was forced to stop. While trapped in his car, he saw another set of headlights. He heard voices. Multiple voices. He shouted for help. The voices went silent. The lights turned off. Why? Why would 5 men ignore a plea for help? Why would they extinguish their flashlights in the dark woods? Unless they were hiding. But hiding from whom? Or from what? Shones later described seeing a group. Possibly men. Possibly more. He wasn't sure. But the reaction was unmistakable. The moment he called out, they stopped talking. Fear. Avoidance. Silence. This is the behavioral anomaly at the center of the case. Who were they avoiding? A dying man? Or something else moving in the forest that night? The men did not wander randomly. They walked 19 miles. Through deep snow. Through darkness. In freezing temperatures. The direction they walked was not toward home. Not toward safety. But toward higher elevation. Why walk uphill when downhill leads to towns? Why walk deeper into danger? Their tracks eventually led to a wilderness trailer. A shelter. A life-saving structure. Inside that trailer, investigators found the paradox we began with. Ted Weiher's body. Wrapped carefully. Almost tenderly. As if someone had tucked him in. But even inside that safety, he never lit the propane. He never opened the food cans. He didn't even remove his shoes until the very end, when frostbite set in. Why? Why ignore survival instincts? Why allow starvation with calories within reach? And there were more anomalies. The trailer door was easy to open. No lock. No barrier. Yet they chose to break a window instead. Then never repaired it. Cold air poured in for weeks. Why? Why do that if you're trying to survive? Then we reach the most important anomaly of all. Gary Mathias. His shoes were found inside the trailer. But his body was never discovered. Not in the woods. Not in the spring melt. Not ever. Shoes are crucial in snow. Feet freeze in minutes. So why would he leave without them? Did he choose to walk into deep snow barefoot? Or was he forced out? And if he was forced, by whom? There is also the psychological wall, a phenomenon documented in institutionalized individuals. A belief that certain objects are not allowed to be used. That certain resources belong to authority figures. Did the men believe the food was forbidden? Did they believe the propane belonged to someone else? Did they sit in the cold, starving, because they didn't think they had permission to live? This explanation fits some behaviors, but not the 19-mile walk, not the extinguished flashlights, not the avoidance of a dying man asking for help, not the missing body. The anomalies stack up. 5 men walking into the mountains at night, ignoring heat, ignoring food, ignoring survival, as if they were obeying something else. A different logic, a logic we cannot identify. We are left with fragments. A car, a forest, a trailer, a body wrapped in sheets. 3 more bodies scattered across the snow. 1 man missing forever. Matches unused. Food untouched. Choices that do not fit any psychological model. The investigators solved everything they could, except the only question that matters. Why? Why leave a working car? Why hike uphill in darkness? Why hide from the only witness? Why starve next to food? Why freeze next to heat? Why walk barefoot into the snow? Why did logic collapse? The case of the Yuba County Five doesn't frighten because it's violent. It frightens because it's impossible. Because nothing in it behaves the way humans behave. Because every answer generates more questions. Because the deeper you analyze it, the less sense it makes. The forest offers no explanations. Only silence. Cold. And a trailer filled with food that no one touched. And 5 men who walked into the mountains for reasons we may never understand.